Alright, it is now 2023, and I have seen 8 television shows, almost 9. I have 3 episodes left with Andor, but anyways, I have 8 television shows, and I am so hyped to share my ranking of all 8 of them with you guys. But before I do that, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment below what is your ranking of the TV shows you've seen. And next week I will be uploading my ranking of the movies, and that will be a 3-part series that I'm very hyped to do because I have never done a big year. I've done like 20 movies in 2020 when I first started. I've never done a big year ranking, so this is technically a first for me, and it's something I plan on doing every year, and I am just so hyped for it. Like, I'm unbelievably hyped for that series. That will be starting next week, but today we are talking about the television shows. And for 2022, I think it was a mediocre year for television shows. Like, I had a problem with each and every one of these shows. It's just how I enjoyed the shows as a whole. A lot of them, their previous seasons were better. A lot of them, they're just not very good. A lot of them are just shows that I just turned on after work, just relaxing. And so that's what just a lot of these shows are. And it's just not that great of a year. It's not like the movies where it was a pretty great year for movies. It's just a mediocre year for television shows, but I still gotta rank them, and you might be surprised what my ranking is because, I mean, it is a doozy, but like I said, not that big of a year for television shows. This next year, 2023, and I'm sorry, I will get on with the video, but 2023 is gonna be amazing because not only do we start out with, we start out with The Last of Us. We got just a bunch of Marvel shows with Loki Season 2 coming. We got a bunch of just shows that I am unbelievably hyped for. So 2023 will be a stacked year, I hope. But for now, we start with 2022 with number 8, my least favorite, and for a good reason, Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is god-awful. The first couple of episodes were like, yeah, this will be a fun show, and I even got in a fight with my friend because he goes, Miss Marvel's stupid, it sucks. And I'm like, no, Miss Marvel's pretty good. And the last episode, pretty fun, pretty return to form. But throughout the show, it just does not know how to do the show. It's like the writers, they hired a bunch of idiots. Marvel hired a bunch of idiots for this show. And I say that in the most light way possible. Because think about it this way. You start out with this format, like, I don't even remember the show, it's that long ago. But Miss Marvel gets powers. And it starts out when she gets powers, and then she just gets powers. She's like, I'm okay with that. No one cares. It's not really experimented on that well. But she gets powers. And then weird things start to happen. Some of these people come for him. And then all of a sudden, after she fights these people, when the show might start getting good, oh, you know what? We gotta go on a globe-trotting adventure that makes no sense with a bunch of characters we don't care about. And then we gotta go back in time to be absolutely, completely useless. Waste of a 5th episode. And then we gotta end our story in the 5th episode with a no lead towards the ending by killing off everybody to where Miss Marvel's like, no, don't die, you can do this. They die, ending of the show. Okay, they died, they saved the world. Just like nobody cares. In the end, Iman Vellani feels like she's trying here, but she's not enough to save the show. Everyone just quit by the time the show was over. The writers, the direction, the way the show is, it's just wasted potential. And I was so hyped for Miss Marvel, and I was just like, this is stupid. Marvel has been making some very bad decisions lately. This is one of them. This show is an absolute pile of garbage just because they just stopped trying. It's a waste of content. It's just they pooped it out on Disney Plus. I don't like using that term, but they pooped it out on Disney Plus. That's all it was here for. It was not meant to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They just threw it out on Disney Plus. That's the end. I hated the show. And next up is She-Hulk. And for the most part, I enjoyed the show, but the overall experience of She-Hulk just makes you feel empty. The show has no meaning. You watch the episodes, you laugh at the jokes, you like the characters, you like the cameos, but you sit back and you're like, what's the meaning of the show? And then the ending, is cool. It combines everything that we've got from the shows to the ending, and then She-Hulk pulls a woman move, and she's like, nope, this is mine, and I'm gonna do what I want with it. And instead of having a pretty cool finale, she just breaks the world. She breaks the world. It's a meaningless show. You sit back and you're like, what were the writers or people on Marvel doing? It's exactly like Miss Marvel. They pooped it out on streaming service. They pooped it out on Disney Plus. More material, more things for people to talk about. It's not a monstrosity like a lot of people say. It's just a waste of potential. I just walk away from it and I'm like, that was nothing. What was Marvel doing thinking of just making this? Wasting the character of She-Hulk, because this show had potential to be really good. I was really hyped for it. And it just like, yeah, it's okay. But it's a fun show when you're watching it. But just when you walk away, it doesn't have anything else to have. And then in, I believe it is correct, 6th place, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And in a way, this was exactly what I wanted from Star Wars in the first place. A spy show where there's actually decent action, intense moments, but it's a lot like She-Hulk. You're watching it and you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Obi-Wan did that. The show happened. You walk away from it and you're like, yeah, that was cool, but I'm not gonna get much out of it. And I did have a lot of problems with the writing and the way the show was, because thinking about it, the show should have been much better. For Obi-Wan going off to rescue young Princess Leia, should have been much better. And it breaks a lot of canon as well, but it just should have been much better instead of just show like, yeah, that was there. And in a way, there is a lot of things that this is what I wanted Star Wars to be, but this is the one that I always forget exists, or I forget what happened in the show. Because a lot of things that they dumped on Disney Plus was just for content, for people to watch, for them to get their viewing hours up. That's what Disney Plus was this year. This show, not meaningful at all. It's got some cool moments. In the end, I just walked away from it like, it exists. It's fine. And the breaking the canon, I hate it when things break the canon, that they don't even have decency to keep it. And so that combined with just some mediocreness made for a mediocre experience as a whole. 5th place, kicking off our top 5, Wednesday, the show about Wednesday Addams in a school figuring out the murder mystery. And I just made a review for this yesterday. For me, if you don't have an interesting mystery along the way, you don't really got a good show. And so the middle of the show, as we go on throughout the show, it makes me just sit back and I'm like, this is kind of mediocre. But, and I know with my other shows I just bashed on them because they were fine, but they were there. This one left a mark on me, because if you don't got an intriguing mystery, your show's meaningless, right? But if you could stick the landing, if you could make us love these characters in the final 2 episodes, if you could make everything that the show felt like a disjointed mess come together in a nice little bow tie and just wrap it all off absolutely perfectly, the show gets a positive score from me. I gave it a positive score because the way the show ended, I just felt was very nicely done, perfectly written, made me like these characters, made me excited for more seasons. That's what I wanted, was great twist reveals, great action, great exactly everything you want from a Wednesday Addams television show in these final 2 episodes. Is it 100% worth it to go through a mediocre series to get there? No. But everyone in the show is committed to their roles. Everyone in the show was committed to the show just to make the ending be very good and very interesting and very intriguing. That's where it goes. And so it just leaves a very positive taste in your mouth. A very fun experience. But you just can't forget that the middle is just like, yeah, the mystery isn't written all that well. It feels like it's written by a 12-year-old girl at times. But stick the landing, you got a great show. I don't care if any mystery, if you stick the landing, you stick the twist reveals, it works. It worked for Wednesday Addams. In number 4 spot, we got Umbrella Academy 3. 100% the worst season. And I haven't ranked the seasons yet. That will be sometime in the next couple of weeks. But I like this show a lot. I love the first 2 seasons. So going into this, obviously I was hyped. And the thing is, it makes some really dumb decisions the way it is. So for the first season, we get a very intriguing mystery on about the end of the world. It's perfect. It's one of the rare A+ things. I think I've rated like 3 things A+. All I can remember is the Umbrella Academy season 1 and Puss in Boots: Last Wish were just A+s for me. The second season, it feels a bit odd getting started, but as we get there, it's just a great season to watch. And then this season was very hard to get through because we started out with very fun characters from a new family, very fun the way it goes, and then we meet Harlan, and it just kind of gets weird to where we get this mystery, and at times it's interesting. I was waiting for the reveals, but we get this mystery, and then the end of the world, nobody wants to save it. It's very just odd decisions to where the type of the end of the world, the type of situation you have here, it just feels like a big steaming pile of mess. It feels like the writers are like, let's just make it apocalyptic, or you know the word I'm meaning. Let's just make it a disaster, basically. Like, everything feels disjointed. It's just very crazy, and at times that can be very enjoyable. Everything about the show can be enjoyable at times if you interpret it the right way. And I interpreted it the right way. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the type of mystery we had, the type of craziness that all the characters brought to it. But it's just kind of like shocking how we get very calm, very clean first 2 seasons, and then the writing in the third season is just absolutely messy. It's just a messy series as a whole. That's something that I think is really weird, is just when you make a messy show. And it's very messy. But it works in a way for the type of context that this show was in. The mystery was intriguing. The answers were cool. Sir Reginald being villainous in here, absolutely perfect. Some great things. I will be there for season 4. But season 3 is definitely just a step down from the others. It's still very enjoyable. Just kind of in a way, just a whirlwind of a mess of the Umbrella Academy. And then, if you wonder why I keep looking at my phone, it's because my notes are there. Yes, I did text them to myself. But kicking off our top 3, Cobra Kai Season 5. And for the majority of the show, yeah, it's cool. It's alright. It's more Cobra Kai. Action's cool. Characters are cool. Their plot lines are basically the same like they've been in the other seasons. But with Wednesday, what do I always say? If you stick the landing, it works. And with the season finale, it's just absolutely incredible, because Terry Silver, throughout the entire show, you see that he's the best villain here. I used to say John Kreese was awesome. If you think John Kreese is scary, you will be pooping your pants at the sight of John Silver, because he's just absolutely menacing. He's dangerous. You feel that. And when we get to the finale, it's basically just a bunch of characters break into his house and they have a big fight, and the fight is fun. The finale, where all the Cobra Kai kids break into their own dojo because the Miyagi-Do students are trying to do something, it's all fun, and it really just sticks the landing. The action's cool. In a way, you really think Chosen's about to die. You really think that Terry Silver just murdered a bunch of people. It's just crazy. He's out of his mind. It's absolutely just a blast for the finale. Like I said, throughout the show, it's just more Cobra Kai. You stick the landing, and it's absolutely perfect. It left a great taste in my mouth to be one of the better shows of 2022, and one of the better seasons. And as an addition, obviously, the characters are always great. Daniel, Johnny, of course, Chosen was very good on the show. They're all great. They're all fun. It's just a very fun show to watch. I can't wait for season 6. And even though it starts to feel repetitive, just this season with their villain and the way it ends, it's just a very fun season for me. It's not the best. It's still a good season. And our runner-up, Moon Knight. And I never thought that Moon Knight, after I finished watching it, would make it this high up on my list. That explains what type of list this is. Because the first 2 episodes of Moon Knight are absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed them. And then we get episodes 3 and 4, and they're just like filler episodes to try to get to the finale. It's like, yeah, is this what this year's gonna be? Unfortunately, the rest of them were, but just filler episodes. Stuff to put on Disney+. But the thing that changed my mind about this is when we get to episode 5. We get the part where they're in the mental institution. You get the emotions, you get the intense connections, you get the sadness that you feel from these characters, And this is one of the few Marvel things that made me cry, because this is just absolutely emotional, absolutely shocking how dark and deep it gets, and it's just absolutely stunning the way that this was made. And I'm just so happy to say that, combined with that and the first two, and the way it's more of a darker show with very intense action sequences, very cool action sequences as well, and an amazing performance by Oscar Isaac, this is just a runner-up for the best of the year, because it's excellently written. It's just a character that I cannot wait to see more of in the MCU. He's cool. It's just everything I wanted from the show. And even though right in the middle there, it gets very boring for me, just it picks it right back up for an emotional moments. And that's exactly what I wanted from it, was a dark, brutal show following a hero that's a lot like Batman, beating up a bunch of characters. That's what it was, but it also got the deep, meaningful layers with these two characters played by one guy. You feel their emotions, and if you make me get the feels for characters, I'm gonna love it. And I got the feels 100% for these characters. So Moon Knight, obviously the best 2022 Marvel show, and that's what you go to say here. Like, yeah, you realize that Marvel is just dumping things on Disney Plus, and I didn't love the show, but if you stick the emotions and the cast, that just shows you what kind of year it is, that a Marvel show could be my number 2, when at the most I would say it's a good show. That's not all. I just say it's a good show. It's not a great show, but just everything that you combined with this, it just makes for a very positive experience. But that just tells what kind of year it is for this show, which is a middle-of-the-road Marvel project as a whole. And even though, like I said, it's got a lot of good things about it, when it's just a middle-of-the-road Marvel project, for sure, if that's your second favorite, you can really tell what kind of year this is for shows. But it's still very great watching the show and watching just the emotions and the performances. But my number 1, Peacemaker. And again, that shows what kind of year it is, because the first half of Peacemaker I hated. I could not get into it at all. But then we get to the emotions, and to where James Gunn can 100% absolutely make you love any side character. And by the end of the show, you feel like there's a family here. You feel like it's hilarious. The last 2 episodes, I was actually in bed, and I was like, you know what? Let's whip out my tablet and watch the final 2 episodes of Peacemaker. And that's exactly what I did. And it's just a very fun show with all the payoff. The cast here, phenomenal. John Cena, always perfect. But all the side characters, great here as well. They feel like a family. They feel like they all have their own emotions, and you feel like you're connected to them. And obviously, it's the James Gunn project, so it's very funny, it's very gory, it's very action-filled. And like I said, I did not like the first half of the show at all. I was like, this is just not for me. It's just too stupid. The ideas aren't good at all. But the more we get into the twists, the more we get into the turns, the more we get into who these characters are and what their meanings are in the show, I could just sit back and I'm like, this is a very fun show with very solid emotions by James Gunn that just does what James Gunn is good at. Making superhero projects with characters that you don't care for at first, to make them just into lovable people. That's exactly what this was. And by the end of the show, I was like, that was a really good show. I'm hyped for season 2. I'm hyped for more Peacemaker. I'm hyped for anything that James Gunn wants to bring to the DCEU, because James Gunn can be the DC GOAT, because just what he does with this show is very fun. And that it just shows what, like I said, I've said this a billion times already in this video, it just shows what 2022 is for movies. It's just a year that is mediocre. Cool. But Peacemaker, out of the steaming pile of mediocreness for the shows, I definitely feel like Peacemaker is number 1, because, like I said, the characters, the emotions, everything of the James Gunn is present here, and more. James Gunn, absolutely perfect. So, like I said, stay tuned. My next videos are going to be my 2022 movie ranking. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for you guys to get to witness that, because that's just a big milestone for my channel. And in 2023, I'm going to get to 150 subscribers. I can feel it. I also got a second channel. Go subscribe to that. It's called More ZMC. I will upload more football videos where I talk about football, books, video games, everything that I want to, but that just doesn't fit my schedule here. Like, I bought The Last Ronin today, for example. I am 100% going to review that on there. I bought the Gray Man book. I'm almost done with it. I'm going to do a versus video between the movie and the book on there. It's just, that's a channel that is just going to be more fun content that it doesn't exactly belong on this channel. So go get that and subscribe. It's more ZMC. And with that said, as always, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.